Given your experience, sir, as a medical doctor and as a specialist who has focused on obstetrics and gynecology, we want to understand in the most simple terms surrogacy and how it is done in the hospital. We want to understand in the most simple form.
Thank you very much. I want to congratulate the organizers of the day for taking the bull by the horn. Surrogacy, like Prof has said, is an arrangement where a woman agrees to conceive, carry a pregnancy, and deliver the baby, with the intention of handing it over, the baby, to a commissioning couple. It's not new, like Prof said. We have biblical references to it. In Hindu mythology, we also saw that it has happened before. In the hospital, when people approach the hospital asking for surrogacy, usually they don't come and say, we want surrogacy services. They come with a complaint of infertility. A couple is said to be infertile when they are unable to achieve conception after 12 months of adequate, unprotected sexual intercourse. Then assessment will be done. So surrogacy is not the first step. We want to see whether they can conceive on their own, using their own gametes and using their own uterus. If a woman's uterus is not in existence, like there's an abnormality where she doesn't have a uterus, or she has had an issue before where the uterus has been removed, which is common because some people had a rough past in which hysterectomy has been done. The uterus has been removed. People like that, we need surrogacy. Now, surrogacy is becoming popular now because artificial reproductive technology is available. So people can get pregnant if they have the money. They can, even if you have no sperm, you can still have baby. If you don't have eggs, you can still have baby. Unlike before, if that happens, you pray after prayer, you just ani ogba fún Ọlọ́run. So nobody èèyàn kankan ogba fún Ọlọ́run mọ́ báyìí. It happens like that only if your pocket is shallow. But if your pocket is deep, you can afford surrogacy. So what we do is that we'll screen the intending couples, we'll screen the surrogate. Once everything is fine, no infection on any side, then they will prepare an agreement. Like Prof said, the legal framework here is not solid yet. But because the law does not prohibit it, it is happening every day. So what they do is that there will be an agreement, there's an offer, like you lawyers say. there will be an acceptance, there will be consideration. So these people that they are saying they want to ban commercial surrogacy is like they are joking. Yeah, because the one that is available every day is commercial. So the consideration, how much are you paying, how much am I receiving? So everything is documented. Then usually it's done by ART, in vitro fertilization. So it could be the husband that is providing the sperm. It could also be that there's a donor sperm. So then we get donor egg. Because most of the time, the one that is done now is the gestational surrogacy, in which the surrogate has no genetic component. So donor egg, donor sperm, or egg and sperm from the intending couples. So all the surrogate is just doing is that she is the carrier. So she's carrying. Then she must be thoroughly counseled. She must have informed consent. Not just consent, but informed consent For example, where there is good legislation, they make the surrogate know that even if she dies in a childbirth, she cannot take up the issue on the commissioning couple. So everything will be said to her. She must know she's carrying a baby. When the baby is delivered, it will be handed over to this party, and that most times IVF babies are delivered by cesarean section. It's not compulsory, but because of the anxiety, the money involved, and everything, you want the safest form of delivery. That's why most IVF babies are delivered by cesarean section. Cesarean section is about 40 minutes to 1 hour. Meanwhile, a labor can be on for 12 hours, and anything can go wrong within 12 hours. So everything will be said to the surrogate. So if the surrogate consents, then the deal is done.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I think you deserve a round of applause, please. Okay, so I remember when Professor Olomola was expatiating on the topic of surrogacy, she mentioned that some people will say, is it through natural birth that a woman gave birth? Now, what is natural? What is not natural? And then doctor also mentioned that, interestingly, I'm directing this question to Dr. Abiola Abiadi now. So, doctor mentioned earlier that just like we say in legal parlance, there is the issue of offer and then acceptance. Now, I'm of the opinion that as at now, we do not have a specific law guiding the issue of surrogacy in Nigeria. But we know that there are people conceiving, having children through this process, as doctor has broken down the process now, and I believe that we understand the issue of surrogacy more. So there are some persons that have argued that there is a part of our National Health Act 2014, particularly Section 50, and that they've stated that surrogacy is prohibited. There is no particular law at this moment on surrogacy that guides all that we have to do in surrogacy, talk less of having an agreement. I would give a background. A friend was sharing with me a few minutes ago that a family member wanted to have a child, and they got somebody to serve as a surrogate mother. They put her in a facility and locked her up in the place. And she knows that for this time frame, you're not going anywhere. You will remain in this facility. And they were paying her 150,000 naira monthly. And then a month after conceiving, there was a certain amount that was given to this surrogate mother. We do not want to see you again. Even if you come back to this facility, nobody will see you thereafter. Now, going back to my question, what is the role of the judiciary? Although now we do not have a law guiding surrogacy, what is the role of the judiciary as we stand in Nigeria at this moment?
Okay, thank you very much. When you say judiciary, do you mean the bench?
The bench.
The bench?
Yes.
Oh, the bench.
When issues like this crop up.
Yes. I don't think we have much problem with the bench. The problem is the matter getting to them. Because there's this code of secrecy around surrogacy. Even when there are disputes, going to the court is the last thoughts in the minds of the parties. They don't want to go to court, basically because they know that there are no laws, then also because they don't want anybody to know they're involved in surrogacy. Most of the people that are involved in surrogacy now, some of them even go as far as to pretend as if they're pregnant, as in the intending mothers. They pretend as if they're pregnant while the surrogate is pregnant, so that everybody will think that the one that had the baby. So by the time you go to court, of course, everything will come to limelight. We don't want that. So I advocate for people going to court. We need a lot of case laws. We need precedents. But unfortunately, I'm saying that because I'm a lawyer. Like, I'm an intended parent. I had my child through surrogacy.
Wow.
Now, I didn't hide that fact. Maybe because I'm a lawyer. I'm more liberal about it. But I'm like in the minority. People are not like that. Do you understand?
Yes,
so, I think what I can just say is, The moment we can break that fear of people going to court, enforceability of a surrogacy contract will not be an issue. Maybe the content might be an issue. I'm open to some content, and I frown at some. I wonder and ponder at some. But a contract is a contract, and you are bound by it once you sign, except it's of course violates a law or a fundamental human right. So have I answered your question?
Yes, you've answered my question, but I would like to focus on that section 50 of National Health Act. I've seen 2014, I've seen arguments online where people have said that this law prohibits surrogacy. But a closer look at that, while reading this act, I have checked the Interpretation Act. Surrogacy was not mentioned. There is nowhere surrogacy was defined.
Yeah.
So how then do we help these people who believe that surrogacy is prohibited under this act to understand?
Yes, I think it's interpretation people give to it. Like, my mentor, Professor Lomola, said, not everybody is open to surrogacy. It's so easy for us to say, okay, I don't believe in surrogacy if you are fortunate to have your children through the normal routes. But for people that want children, surrogacy is a lifeline. I've been saying it since, I said, like she said, thank God for her. I appreciate her always, ma. She was the one that introduced it. I was in her office, I was crying, I was having problem with my thesis for PhD. She said, which one? What do you like? I said, I like women and children. She said, okay, what? I said, what do you want to write? I said, oh, yeah, go and do surrogacy. And she encouraged me. And, I just thank you, ma. And I fell in love with it. By the time I was having that discussion with her, I was a 42-year-old divorcee without a child, right? So by the time I got into surrogacy and I saw everything, I was like, So there is a lifeline for me. Of course, by that time I was like 10 years out of my failed marriage. I didn't have any relationship. And I know my biological clock was every morning I wake up, my mom is like, mommy, please. The pressure was so much. So when I got to hear about something, I was like, Oluwose, Adura. So you see, you cannot say surrogacy. I don't believe in surrogacy. Some people, it's their answered prayers, right? Whether in marriage, outside marriage, or whatever. I'm a single mother. I'm not in marriage, but then I have my child, and I'm so happy about it. So really, people that don't want surrogacy will say, it's illegal, oh, it's wrong, it's culturally wrong, but it's religiously wrong, everything. You can say whatever you want to say. But those of us that want it will tell you it's right, and will give you reasons. So everybody will propagate whatever they believe in based on their experiences in life and how life has served them.
Thank you very much.
If I can come in on the issue of National Health Act.
Yes, please.
The section 50 you mentioned
Yes,
about,
sir.
they prohibited embryo splitting.
Yeah, then cloning.
Yes, nuclear transfer.
Yes, sir.
It's not surrogacy.
Yes.
They are prohibiting. Twins occur when embryo are formed, and in the process of growing, they multiply naturally. So triplet can also arise like that. So twins can occur through two major ways. It's either that the sperm fertilize an ovum, another sperm fertilize an ovum. So you see a twins that they just resemble each other like normal siblings. But if a sperm fertilize an egg and that embryo split into two, you have a twin that is identical, or a triplet that is identical. So what they are prohibiting in that section 50 is embryo splitting.
Thank you very much for the
when you are splitting it as if you want to do what God has done. So they don't want a situation where people start to create. Then the second part, the nuclear transfer.
Yes.
You can even create many human beings, like 100, identical. So because you just transfer the genetic component, put it in many eggs. So you find, if you want to have many people like this lady, genetic component, will put it in many people. So all of them will be like that. So we are trying to avoid something like that. No cloning. Like that doctor that they said used his sperm
Yes.
to fertilize, the whole world is protecting against that now. That's what I want to say.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so we will still stay with Dr. Abiade. A bill was recently sponsored at the House of Assembly, at the House of Representatives, rather, seeking to establish the Nigerian Surrogacy Regulatory Commission. Now, for supervising the whole issue of surrogacy arrangements in Nigeria. Now, bearing in mind that surrogacy is a form of assisted reproductive technology, do you think, ma, that the bill should just focus on surrogacy? I remember Professor Lomola said that we should have a comprehensive outlook, a comprehensive framework. Do you think that we should just have, if we should have a law, we're anticipating that this bill is passed, do you think that we should amend at this stage and we make it more robust to focus on assisted reproductive technology so that surrogacy comes under, IVF and co comes under? What do you think, ma'am?
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I think that bill is quite narrow. It should be broadened. It's a total comprehensive framework that we need in Nigeria. There's a lot of things going wrong with the surrogacy agencies because they're the ones in charge of the surrogate mothers. They're the ones that source the surrogate mothers. They're the ones mostly that links the intended parents with surrogate mothers. So they wage a lot of power, right? So I guess that's why the person, because I heard that he's an intended parent too. That's why he was more prone to let's regulate the agencies. Let's regulate the agencies, but they're doing a lot of things wrong. But it's not only the agencies that need to be regulated. It's the total, we need the laws that will specify the rights, obligations, duties, and liabilities and everything of all the parties, the intending parents, the surrogate mothers, the medical practitioners, surrogacy agencies, all the professionals involved in the whole process, even the legal professionals. Like I was telling my senior, my dean at the Faculty of Law, Leeds City, Dr. Olaoni, yesterday, I said, the people that draft surrogacy agencies now, they are lawyers, but do you know what most surrogacy agencies do? They would look for an hungry lawyer and there's a specific amount they will collect from intended parents, which is high, a little bit high, and they will look for a hungry lawyer that will take maybe 100 and 150,000 out of that money. They are the ones that will give him the prototype because they have traveled abroad. They've seen how a surrogacy contract should be drawn, the content and everything. Most of these lawyers are not vast. They don't know how a surrogacy contract should look. So they are the ones that will give it to them. And so the lawyers will not feel bad. And because the contract comes in often, by the time you get 150, about 10 times in a month, that's a lot of money. But I know how much intending parents pay for legal fees. The rest goes back to the agencies, even though they are paid already for their work. So the lawyers that are walking around hungry, I always, please, go and specialize. Go and develop yourself. Go and fine-tune your craft. Deliver the service and you see yourself not struggling to have money. So I think it's an all-rounder. We need a general comprehensive framework. And I don't believe that legislation should just sit down and draft this thing. They should look for stakeholders, people that need to eat, people that already know, they've seen the international best practices, they've experienced it personally, and let them rub minds, let them give, because all these things, okay, look at that law. Is that on arrival? How can you say it should not be commercial surrogacy? It cannot be anything but commercial surrogacy. Even though I've seen someone that said, if they give me 10 million naira, I will not be a surrogate mother. And she meant it. So, of course, surrogate mothers are not only motivated because of money. They intentionally want to help. But they still need money. They need money to be compensated for their lost wages. For 9 months, they will not be able to work. They need money for their own children because most surrogate mothers have children. They must be mothers. They must have had 1 or 2 live births. So all those things. So we need a comprehensive framework to address all the things that need to be addressed for surrogacy to be a thriving, prosperous, and venue for there to be economic development in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, ma. Okay, so with this, she has mentioned economic development, and from the background of what she gave, surrogacy seems to be a very expensive one. And this will lead me to Mrs. Yewande Ojo, who is ably representing Honorable Adisa. So many have argued that the concept of surrogacy appeals to the elites due to the funds, the finances. Does that mean that we do not have people who are not financially buoyant, who are having the issues of infertility? So looking at this, looking at the high cost of procuring the services in Nigeria, how do you perceive this? And what do you think should be the remedy such that it is available to people who do not have these millions, so to speak?
Thank you for that question. It is true that currently it appears like it's only the elites that have the access to this surrogacy agreement. Because it's just clear, even from what the prof has explained to us, the code of secrecy, the non-regulation, some people even don't even have the knowledge that there's that option of going for. So it's the elitists that even know, you need to even be elitist to know that you can do this arrangement. So I think the solution to this is regulation. That bill is a welcome development, although it is not all-encompassing, as has been said. Because looking at the agencies now, this middlemen, Dr. Abiade has said how they extort people. Yes. Using the word, let me just use that word carefully, extort. But if the regulation has carefully states the framework from starting with the medical practitioners, I don't even have to go through a middleman. I know the medical facility to walk straight into, if it is regulated. So the regulation will break the back of these agencies, these middlemen agencies. The bill also recommended having a commission, although that is a little bit dicey, but a government commission with states across all 36 states and the FCT would definitely do better than just a few private agencies that are wielding monopoly in that business. And with this regulation as well, there will be more facilities, even public hospitals. Even public hospitals will now will probably be able to afford, to offer that service. I think it's a case of economics. The lower the supply, the higher the price. So if the regulation makes it, it's not like the regulation will just make it free for all. There will be licensing opportunities. And so we know that you have to have a license to operate, but I also know how the process of getting a license is. It's not that I'm monopolizing that knowledge. So once that is there, you're breaking the back of the agents, the middlemen, so it's more deregulated. It's more deregulated. So that affords the opportunity for middle income earners, lower income earners, and then the place of orientation by maybe the government agency or even the National Orientation Agency, radio jingles, television adverts, so that even the lower income earners know that I can actually access this, because it's a case of information. Information is power. It's a case of information. So, an information I don't have, I cannot even access the service. So, I think the simple answer is regulation. The bill has to be revised to be more encompassing, but with the law, once it is passed, it would make it more accessible to people. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I add to that?
Yes, please.
I also believe that for surrogacy to work, the government must not take it over. It has to be done through PPP, public-private partnership. The private sector, they've gone far in all professions, especially in the medical field. They know so much, even all these agencies, they're private, individuals. So the government just coming over and saying, let's open a commission, UCH, it doesn't work that way. you need their knowledge, you need their wealth of knowledge, their know-how. Most of them, they have international collaborations. They know, they know the best hubs all over the world where surrogacy is being done, the technology, the medical aspect, even all aspects. So the government can't just take it over and neglect all these people that have gone so far. They need them. So it has to be through that collaboration that I believe that surrogacy will do well. Of course, you can't leave it to them to keep handling it. We see it. It's too expensive. There are a lot of, irregularities, a lot of the need for regulation. But I think with the two sectors working hand in hand, we have a very, very prosperous and all serving surrogacy practice in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Ma. And this will lead me back.
Sorry, before you go, I want
Okay.
to bring it to our notice that a law, a bill for ART have actually been sponsored as far back as 2012.
Yes, sir.
Association of Family and Reproductive Health. The thing I learned to went through 2 readings,
Yes,
but
but it
after
didn't see the
that
light of
it
the
died
day.
naturally
Yes,
there
yes,
because
yes,
it did
sir.
not. The attention of the people at the helm of affair concerning that they were not interested. Laws are made by elites, so it looks like what concerns the elite will become more urgent. So I'm not surprised that the person that is sponsoring this particular bill has personal interest. So bills that have interest of the elite will sail through on time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so, sir, that would still lead me back to you. Do we have special fertility centers on surrogacy in Nigeria? Maybe they are not termed as such, but do we have them in Nigeria that focuses mainly on surrogacy? We know that there are centers that claim to focus on fertility issues. Is it those same centers that focus on issues of surrogacy in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Or do we have like a regulation around that in the medical field?
Like I said, people don't come to the hospital to seek for surrogacy service. They come because they are infertile. So what you have is fertility centers. So it's the fertility center that will assess the individual and see that this person needs surrogacy. So there will be no medical center that will be interested only in surrogacy.
Thank you very much, sir. So this will lead me back to Mrs. Yewande. Do you think that surrogacy has any economic impacts? And if yes, what are those economic impacts? Do you think that it will affect our economic growth in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you. I think that it has the potential to affect our economic growth because I think it was the prof that it was Dr. Abiali that said there's a code of secrecy. So people are engaging in this practice, but not openly. So the government cannot even. It is something that is open that I can maybe declare my income on it from. That I can declare maybe that I made, for instance, the surrogate mother now, the income she gets from that business, in quotes, is a business, then I can declare that I made an income from it. But if it is a secret agenda, then I cannot declare that I made an income from it, talk less of maybe making it a taxable income, for instance. And there are many professionals down the value chain of this. We've identified the healthcare professionals, we've identified legal professionals, we've identified maybe social care workers. Another set of professionals, I think, data privacy professionals, because there are issues of privacy. If this practice is well regulated, so much so that there are more people are able to, for example, open facilities that attend to this business. These are businesses that will pay taxes to the government. But if the government does not even know I'm operating such a business, then I can decide not to declare my tax on my profit on that aspect of my business, so I won't be able to even pay tax on it. And that is depriving even the government from making income in that aspect. But on the other hand, even for the private practitioners, when analyzing the bill earlier, the prof talked about the requirement to notarize the surrogacy agreement. That's another economic impact from I heard my Oga say that that's another business for us, notary publics, That's another source of income for people who are notary publics if it becomes open that surrogacy agreements, so it is one service, drafting the agreement is one service, taking it to a notary public to notarize is another income generating service along the value chain. The medical practitioners and I think it would also lead to more expertise because there will be more research. So now we have research and development practitioners also trying to improve. Is no more hidden. So something that is not hidden, people, it becomes a something that everybody wants to get into, So I think it has a lot of potential for economic growth, taxes, income for practitioners and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And please, may I add that, do you know the number of Nigerians in the diaspora that come home to do surrogacy?
Because most of our clients come from outside.
Yes, they come from abroad. Because, number one, even though we say it's expensive, it's still cheaper than abroad.
Yes, it is.
Two, most of them want Nigerians to carry their baby. They don't want whites. They don't want other nationals to carry their baby.
That's correct.
And also, some of them want the support of family. A family is Nigeria. So they come, as in, so you can imagine, the foreign earnings the country can have, and professionals need to sit up and wake up, especially lawyers. Since I got into this surrogacy awareness and all that, I approached about two surrogacy agencies. I told them, I would like to be drafting your surrogacy agreement. They stilled me out. I'm an insider, but a lawyer can show you tell you,
it's because of money.
It's because of money. They know they can't give me 100,000. I'll collect. And it's our job. That's why we went to law school. I went to all these things. So, but by the time there's regulation, all these hungry lawyers that are spoiling business for us, we'll tell them, come, you are shooting yourself in the feet. Let's do it the right way. Let's honorably occupy our space, just like the agencies are occupying their space. We can't do without them. Even when there's regulation, we need them. They are doing a wonderful work. Most surrogacies most surrogates arrangements where surrogacy agencies are not involved always have issues. So we need the agencies, but then we need to, they're waging too much power. They're stepping into zones that do not belong to them. And other professionals want to wake up. I would occupy these spaces by force, by fire. They will keep occupying it.
Sorry, I want to bring up the issue of notarizing. Does it reduce the money they are going to pay to the person that drafts the agreement?
Dr. Abiade will have to help us.
It will just give you more validity.
Okay.
And they will also factor that money into how much is notarized. Like my agreement
so the
was
lawyer
notarized.
that is handling it that will
He's
notarize
the one
it.
that will notarize.
Okay.
He will handle it. Once he drafts it, he will collect his own money. They will take it to magistrate or whoever notarizes it. They will do it. In Lagos, if you go to some hubs, they do it the right way. Some people still do background, backyards. That's not. I tell people don't do that. Although it's more expensive when you do it the right way. You might say surrogacy is not regulated, but those that are doing the right way, they've traveled abroad. They are doing international best practices in Nigeria, even though we don't have local enactments. So in such places, they will get a proper lawyer, even though he will be ready to collect 100,000, and he will notarize it for them. He will do the right thing. So you see that this is a legal tender. It's something they can take to court and to be enforced. So
it's a good thing if that will make it more acceptable. In that, for now, it looks like surrogacy has stigma on it. And we also observe that the interest of the surrogate itself should be in our heart. They should be protected because we've had issues in the past. I had a story of a couple commissioned a surrogate. High-class people commissioned the surrogate. The day the baby was delivered to them, that my doctor friend said the surrogate disappeared. Yes. So we have a feeling that because of the stigma, they didn't want anybody to say, our baby was by surrogacy. So they now have their baby the surrogate disappeared. So if this thing were to be done by notary, if this thing were to be done by at least the commissioner of oath is involved, everybody is involved, they will not be thinking
About
like that.
running.
We didn't say they kill. It might be that maybe they sponsor the girl abroad, because that's also possible. Some people prefer to sponsor the girl somewhere else, just leave this environment. But if it's popular, is everybody knows about it, there will be no need to be covering your tracks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. This would also still lead me back to Dr. Abiade. Before I ask, the question I intended asking before, can you expatiate a bit on the role of notary public and commissioner for oaths when we have this surrogacy agreement? The essence of them notarizing it.
Yes, they are government officials. So when they do that, it's like your contract have government backing. That's more or less layman word what it means. So it's really a powerful tool. It's really a necessary thing to do on all surrogacy agreements. And like I said, some agencies know that and they are leveraging on it, while some don't, and it's unfortunate. So, thank God, Doctor, he has heard now. I'm very sure you'll be telling people, have you notarized your surrogacy agreement?
It's good we're hearing it.
Yes.
Okay, so...
And we also need to know that federal law may not be available.
Yeah.
Yes, we will
Lagos already has a law.
Yes, we will still
And
get
America, as big as it is, also does not have a federal law. It's state by state that is regular. So we can start. Lagos has done it, or your state can do so. Little by little, others will copy it.
So this is a challenge to say that we do not have to wait for federal laws. Each state can regulate whatever works for them. Okay, so that's the reason we have the Child Rights Act, and then we'll have the Child Rights Law, so that each state can modify according to what works for them. So this will take me back to Dr. Abiade. So what are the rights of intended parent, surrogate mother, the right of the surrogate child? Yes. And in fact, when the child now grows up, for example, let's say that there is the issue of inheritance. Let's say, for example, the parents had their first child through surrogacy. And in the process of being opened, they now told the other children that came after the old surrogacy issue that we had Shola via surrogacy. And, every other person wasn't through surrogacy. Yes. And so they now grow up, the parents are gone, there is no will. How then do we, how do we cover this right of this child to inheritance? Okay. So I need you to tell us the rights of intending parents, rights of the surrogate mother, and then rights of the child, the surrogate child.
Thank you very much. We don't have laws, right? But there are laws in other jurisdictions. Then, we are humans. We can actually, from what we said now, in Nigeria is the surrogacy contract that regulates relationships now. And in the contract, the intended parents are the parents in the contract from birth. Even from, the contract is supposed to be signed before they even start any medical procedure on the surrogate. It's not done always, but in well-established hubs, that's the norm. You sign the contract because that's the binding authority on whatever you guys are doing. So in the contract, you would have stated, the surrogate would have said, I'm not the parent of this child, I'm just a carrier. Or the parental right rests on the intended parents and, all that. So the contract is very powerful when it comes to surrogacy arrangement because it states everything. There is one particular condition in my surrogacy contract that before I had my baby, made me ponder that, hey, as a lawyer, I was even shocked that a contract can even state that. It was stated there that if the child is miscarried or is born stillborn, how much money do I want to still give the surrogates? Then they gave me the percentage, 100%, 75%, 50%. I said, eh? And I'm going to be bound by it because as a lawyer, I know I'm going to be bound by it. to let you know how detailed surrogacy contracts should be. A surrogacy contract, when it's done the way it should be done, it crosses all T's and dots all I's. That is what you take to court. That's what a surrogate can use against you, what you can use against a surrogate, you know. And so when you see where it's done, it talks about everything. So the rights of the parents, of intended parents, are the rights of parents, natural parents. They have total custody, they have parental rights and everything, right? The rights of the surrogates is fundamentally take care of our fundamental human rights. Treat her with dignity, fulfill all your promises, all your obligations under the contract. You take care, when she's pregnant, you would have stated in the contract, like a well-detailed contract to tell you how much you pay her monthly for feeding, for clothing, you take care of accommodation. Some contract to tell you what you do after. In my own case, they said 6 weeks after, I was still taking care of medical bills, feeding her and housing her. Some don't do that. And that's why I always tell surrogate, don't be desperate. Do it the right way. Go to the right quarters. You know, you see surrogate that I saw when I was doing my PhD on the field. I interviewed a surrogate that told me that the moment they took out the surrogate child off her, she didn't see anybody again. And this was a woman that carried triplets. She nearly died. She was on bed rest. She was yellow from 30 weeks. And they pushed her to carry it to 36 or 37 weeks. By the time she had her baby, she was near death's door. And immediately they removed those babies. She didn't see anybody except the doctors. And no, it was very traumatic for her. No, not all surrogates go through that. When you go to a right surrogacy agency and maternity clinic, hospital, they don't do that. They take care of you. As in, surrogates that go through the right quarters are enjoying. So all your rights will be there, of course. And you know, you said something about locking up surrogates and all that. You know, you can't take freedom of movement or anything from them. The only thing I know that they take from them, and is by agreement, is some agreement to say no sex while you are carrying the baby, no drinking, no drugs, things you can relate with, but not that you can't go out or you can't have friends or you can't do normal things. No, that's wrong. And that's even it's illegal, So the rights of surrogates, they don't have any right over the child, and they know it. They don't even want it. When you see a well-counseled surrogate that gave informed consent, they don't want the baby. They have their own babies. You understand? It's only surrogate, Abele surrogate, that you say, please, I'll give you 50,000, or that doesn't have proper understanding of the procedure and everything, that will think the baby is theirs, And the surrogate child, of course, you're saying something about inheritance. You see, there is no, when my mentor was talking about parents that say, oh, this baby is disabled, I don't want her and all that. And she said something, she said, if it had been their child, would they do that? You don't see a surrogate child differently from your naturally born child. They don't treat their surrogate children any differently. Is their child, even whether genetically connected or related or not. I got my child through a donor sperm because I didn't have a partner. I don't see him differently from if I had met the father and he has slept with me. You understand? So it's all about perception. The Bible says, as the man thinketh, so is he. So it's about your thinking. So inheritance, what is my mom called me one day and said, your father is a generous, kind person that help people that don't have husband, lonely women like myself, that donated his sperm. That, okay, all of you, instead of us to be begging around for men, they give us sperm. It's how you perceive life, how you perceive it. It's just like someone that has a heart problem and wants to get a donor heart or donor kidney. Do you see that kidney as not your own? When it's there, it is your own. It's your own. There is no inferior sperm. Is there any inferior sperm?
No.
If I had screen sperm, thank you, Abio. And even screen, my doctor said screen sperms are even better than sperm from a man because you don't know what is carrying.
The one they used to
round of applause for Dr. Abiade, please.
She has raised a very important.
She has, and then she has expatiated.
The care of the surrogate is not ended until 6 weeks after delivery. Because every woman that delivers must still come to clinic 6 weeks after for us to see that the uterus is back in place, everything is sorted out. So if they just take the baby and drop the woman, they have exploited the woman. Then the second thing I want to bring to our attention
So
is
before
that...
you go to the second thing, I would just want you to, we're almost rounding up this session.
Okay.
With what you intend saying, kindly tell us the implication. I know you're going into that already. The hazard, the medical ethics, and the standard of practice in ensuring stability on this issue of surrogacy.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to bring to our attention that some of the clients, in fact, most of the clients come from outside the country. They come from different jurisdictions, like you lawyers will say. So you must know where your client is coming from. For example, if your client is coming from Germany, their law, as at now, still says that the person that carried the baby is the mother of the baby. So if you do a surrogacy arrangement here and the woman wants to go back to Germany, there will be an issue. So know where your client is coming from. So, concerning surrogacy, the ethics, first there must be an indication. So you don't just do surrogacy because you have money. It might be that you don't have uterus. It might be that the uterus is non-functional. It might be that there's an addition in the uterus. It might be that there is a medical condition in the woman that cannot allow her to carry pregnancy to term. So once you have an indication, like I said the other time, the surrogate must be properly cancelled. It must have informed consent. And there must be no intention to exploit. It is true that the elite commission and the ordinary people carry. But there must be no intention to exploit. If all those is done, and you must do it in standard medical environment, where cesarean section can be done, where the care of the mother, obstetric care, postnatal care can be given in the standard manner. Not that you just take there is baby factory, you remember.
Yes.
Some people still think they are doing surrogacy, but what they are doing is actually they have a baby factory. So I think if surrogacy can be properly done, properly regulated, stigma is removed, it will reduce the menace of a baby factory. We even reduce the menace of illegal adoption practices. Yeah. Because some people still go to do corner adoption. So if, from what we have done today, and I believe the whole world is hearing, people are more enlightened. They come to the open, go to the good clinics, look at good agencies, and do proper surrogacy. Infertility, the people that are going through infertility know now they have option. I'm happy that my sister here said it was while she was doing her research that they find out that helpline is available. So many people don't know they can. Abroad, the reason why California is championing commercial surrogacy will not be far from same-sex marriages. So different reason for different folks. In where we are saying we want to ban commercial surrogacy, California is championing commercial surrogacy. I will just end by saying ethics must be properly followed. Go to standard clinic, go to standard fertility clinic, take good care of the surrogate, don't exploit the surrogate, get good document. I'm happy now that I'm hearing about notarizing. It will take away all those corner, and the child right must also be taken care of. It's not that you have the baby here, you cannot take the baby to the area of jurisdiction of the parent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So this question is directed to all our panelists, but we'll go from Mrs. Yewande. So what is the future of surrogacy practice in Nigeria, looking at the economic perspective? From the economic perspective, doctor will talk from the medical perspective, And Dr. Abiade will speak to us from the legal perspective in 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. I think the future of surrogacy in Nigeria is bright in terms of even the economic perspective. With some of the challenges we've identified today and some of the solutions that have been proposed, and with the way the thing is evolving. So I think that if many of these things are adopted, the stigma is no longer there. It is more open. There's no more secrecy about surrogacy practice. Then we'll be able to have more practitioners in this field, even from the angle of the surrogate, knowing that as much as I want to be altruistic in this, helping the intending mother, I can also make some funds from it. I don't think that should really be a bad idea at the end of the day. So far, all the steps have been taken. So I think the future is very bright, and I encourage that the government and all the stakeholders involved should really open up to encouraging this practice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and Dr. Ajiolu.
The future is clearly going to be bright. Stigmas are clearing off. Awareness is going up. And affordability, the issue of affordability will be taken care of along the line. When we started IVF, it was very expensive. So many people cannot afford it. But we have clients now who are primary school teachers. They know what it will cost. They save towards it. They get it done. Some of them are even coming back for second IVF. So the future is bright.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you
sir.
so
Dr.
much,
Abiade.
sir. Thank you. And that the same will happen for surrogacy. The moment we create awareness, people know all these things. And now I think I will speak to the legal. There's a lot of what we need to do as legal practitioners, whether we are seniors or just coming up. We need to push for legislation. Lawyers are powerful people. There is nobody on earth that doesn't have a lawyer. President has his own lawyer. So I believe that to get the legislation in place, lawyers have a key role to play. Then we have to fight for our spots. You see, most of the abuses happening in surrogacy and all that will be cleared out by the time lawyers take their place, because you will not draft a surrogacy agreement that has illegality in it. You'll be able to inform all parties of their rights. You make sure that all laws are observed, all interests are taken care of, both legal and otherwise. See, by the time lawyers start real informed, versatile, and well-grounded lawyers start drafting surrogacy agreements, I know a lot of the abuses and problems that are going on will clear out. So lawyers, both those that have the influence, let's get the law passed. And those that are just coming up, go and look into travel for conferences. There are medical law committees that are doing a lot of research into surrogacy. There are lots of research going on into surrogacy. Even in legal spheres, they are looking into surrogacy laws. We can go to other jurisdictions. Let's study them. Let's go and study the agreements. Let's see what we can craft out. Make yourself specialist in family law. You can be a family law and have a law firm. It's not only teachers, lecturers like us that can practice in family law, because it's a very profitable and enriching aspect of law that a lot of lawyers are not looking into. Surrogacy agreement is like land agreement. By the time we occupy our spaces in that sphere, we'll contribute our quota in sanitizing the industry, and we'll be able to benefit from it as professionals too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. With this, we will draw the curtain of this session. I believe the panel has done justice to our questions.